with what greening means. People oftentimes think we refer to only planting trees or maybe the color green.
It's interesting. When you hear green, you see green. You think the color green.
Yes,
so, yes,
definitely. But it's way more than that. It's us ensuring, really, if I can say from an environmental perspective, that projects or that developments do not have any adverse risk on the environment, so that we minimize risk and we maximize benefits to people. It's us ensuring that for energy, for example, we are able to move to a more renewable form of energy. It's us ensuring that in each of the other sectors that we have, that there are not much wastage maybe, ensuring that there is efficiency in how we operate, and in ensuring that in all of this we are able to create jobs for Guyanese.
What are some, in talking about creating jobs and talking about, so much, what are some of the ministries or other agencies that the Department of the Environment would have to work with, closely, or at least every now and again, to ensure that all of these plans, in terms of not only greening, but protecting and safeguarding our environment, to ensure that they're executed properly?
It's every single ministry we have to work with. But what I failed to mention earlier is that we're also working with UN Environment to develop a green model.
Oh,
this model will look at certain sectors. Yes, there are, of course, certain sectors that, if the government were to invest in, that will give the government really, if I can say, the biggest bang for its buck. There are certain sectors in which, if the government were to invest in, they can have great returns. We know the agriculture sector is one of those sectors. I think the energy sector is another one of those sectors. So what a model does is it looks at a few of these sectors and to see the kind of benefits that can accrue from investing in these sectors. So that in going forward, it's not a guess game for us. We're not just saying we're going to do this because we feel like doing it, but we're doing it because we've mulled it and we know that we are going to get the greatest benefits from these sectors.
From those sectors. All right, great. When these days in Guyana, when we hear energy, when you talk about energy and so on, everybody thinks oil. Again, I know your department is not specifically responsible for that. But have you been either given a mandate or some ideas in terms of the things that you may need to do? Again, we're now saying that oil is everybody's business now. Are you, as your department, going to be involved in any way in terms of helping to develop what will be our oil sector?
Yes, it has to be involved. The environment is everybody's business. That's EPA's tagline. But as the Environmental Protection Agency is the regulatory agency to ensuring that ExxonMobil, they're now drilling for oil. They're in the process of doing that, but to ensuring that ExxonMobil, they are in compliance with necessary legislations and regulations. It is our duty also to ensuring that we have the right mechanism, the right legislations, so that we protect our environment. So from that perspective, it is our business.
It is your business.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, we're happy to hear that. They say the time flies when you're having fun. And I must say this conversation is really an interesting thing because there's so many things that, we've put out there, or I should say the head of the Department of the Environment would have been able to put out there in just a short time. But as we come down to the close of today's discussion, are there projects that you may want to talk about or at least highlight that the Department of the Environment may be involved in terms of a few months down the line? We're almost at the end of 2017. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the possible plans for 2018 that you can possibly reveal at this time.
Yeah, I think that's a good one for 2018. What we will mostly be doing, because by June, July of next year, the Green State Development Strategy would be completed. But then that's only one aspect. Now that it's completed, what happens next?
Yes.
We then get into the implementation phase, and I see the Department of Environment as playing a key role in the implementation of the GSDS, coordinating efforts, just like how we're coordinating efforts now with all the various ministries and agencies of government and private sector, to ensuring that we can now benefit from an innovative strategy. Next year, though, for us, we will be looking to have our own strategic plan. We don't have that as yet. We will also look to, and I alluded to this earlier, ensuring that environmental management in the country is harmonized to ensuring that we are able to develop or put in place at least the requisite systems to ensure that there is great uptake in environmental management in the country. So those are the kind of things we will be looking to do from next year. And, we're very excited about that.
Happy to hear that. The strategy, you said you're looking to have the strategy next year. So now is it any challenge at all to function without that strategy at this point?
The Green State Strategy? No.
Go ahead, yes.
The Green State Strategy?
For the environment of itself. Does it present a challenge to function without the strategy?
The Green State Strategy? Well, let me back up by saying that the Green State Development Strategy is going to be the national development strategy for the entire country. It will encompass every single sector in the country. So it's not only about the environmental sector. It's also about energy. It's also about infrastructure. It's also about natural resources. It's about every single sector. As it is now, though, as you're aware, all of these sectors, they have their own maybe sector plan. They have their own policies that they go with. But the green strategy will be the umbrella strategy that all of these other strategies will come under. I think that that is necessary because what it does is that agencies will then not really continue to operate in silos. Currently, agencies operate in silos. Because I'm responsible for a particular sector, I only look at that sector. But that sector may have an impact on other sectors, and we need to consider those. The Green State Development Strategy will help us to see the bigger picture, so that in our operations in our various ministries, we know that, in doing X, Y, or Z, we will also have an impact or an effect on A, B, and C.
Perfect. Ndibi Schwiers, she is the head of the Department of the Environment. Thank you so very much for coming and sharing with us. We appreciate it. Viewers, even though this is not the last conversation that we'll be having with her, because as I always like to remind you, this program basically aims to focus on all of those departments and agencies that function in a sense with guidance from the Ministry of the Presidency. So Ndibi will definitely be back on this program. If not, yes, I know I'm putting her on the spot. I can just see her expression. If not herself, you will have other representatives coming from the Department of the Environment and all those agencies that fall under that department. And of course, again, I just like to remind you, there are other agencies such as the Department of Citizenship. There is a climate change. We already had someone from the IASC, which is the Institute of Applied Science and Technology, and so many of the other departments and agencies that function within and with guidance from the Ministry of the Presidency. But we're going to have to leave our program right there for now. Thank you so very much for joining. Of course, I am Malika Ramsey, and this has been Conversations in State.